had these issues highlighted before, but the Taoiseach saying today that change is coming.
Yes, Colette, both in terms of cultural change as well as in terms of change in scale and scope of the Defence Forces. We talked a little bit yesterday about the fact that the defence budget is now going to be increased to its highest level ever, effectively a 50% increase, €8 billion being spent over the next 6 years on defence, including things like upgraded ships, new equipment and a new €200 million primary radar system. But numbers and personnel are what really make up the Defence Forces. And with that in mind, 6,000 new personnel will be added, about 3,000 in reserves, 3,000 in permanent Defence Force staff as well. Obviously, the spend here is very, very considerable. Micheál Martin asked today whether or not he did have any misgivings about the level of money. Billions of euro being pumped into the Defence Forces at a time we are in a cost of living crisis.
The level of expenditure commitment I think is necessary to get to a very basic level of defence and really an essential level of protection that the country, in terms of protecting its sovereignty, and if you look at our maritime space and airspace, in many respects these are very basic requirements now in a modern era. And look at your cyber security challenges onto that. So it's not exclusively to defence. We've expenditure commitments across the board, but we do have to give a multi-annual time frame to the implementation of the Commission's recommendations so that people can plan appropriately both on the human resource side and on the capital side.
So if the Defence Forces wants to boost its numbers by effectively 35% in 6 years, it needs to reach out more towards women and minority groups, and that is a key facet of this plan, women in particular. Now, obviously, the Women of Honour group who highlighted allegations of sexual assault, of bullying, of harassment within the Defence Forces, and as well as that, the Commission of the Defence Forces report earlier this year, which said that the Defence Forces had a masculine culture where women felt that they couldn't go through ordinary grievance procedures for fear of reprisal. Now, all of these apparently have been taken on board as part of this action plan for the Defence Forces. I spoke earlier on with the Chief of Staff of the Defence Forces, Lieutenant General Sean Clancy. He says that he personally is visiting every barracks in the country, trying to get a sense of what's happening to women on the ground and trying to make sure there is that cultural shift.
Any inappropriate behaviour to anybody serving in the Defence Forces will simply not be tolerated. And I think the actions we have taken to date over the last 8-month period since the Women of Honour have come out, and I've been on the record, I've been grateful for the Women of Honour. It came at the very beginning of my tenure, and since that time I think the actions that we've been undertaking internally have spoken for themselves. Anybody into the future that wants to join Defence Forces, irrespective of gender, we will constantly be vigilant in ensuring that respect and dignity is foremost.
Those words by the Chief of Staff, also backed up by the Minister for Defence Simon Coveney and the Taoiseach Micheál Martin, who said that this was a priority to make the Defence Forces a safer place, a more tolerant place for all of its members, to attract people, to strengthen the nation, as is the motto of the Defence Forces. Now, there has been some criticism about this spending plan, both in terms of how much money is being put aside, but as well as that, questions around our neutrality, about the use of such funds on the Defence Forces. Minister Eamon Ryan says this will actually boost Ireland's neutrality.
All right, Richard Chambers, live at McKee Barracks. Thank you for that.